Hello Mets fans, welcome back to the channel. I hope you all are having a good day, and today we are going to be taking a look at the New York Mets and their options this MLB offseason when it comes to the pitching market, because as we know, we've touched on so many different pitchers here, either via free agency or through the trade avenue, and recent reports really over the past 24 to 48 hours are suggesting that yes, because the Mets are seemingly out of the Sugano race, at least at the time of recording this. By the time I put this up, we probably will have an answer on Sugano, or at least close to, but assuming the Mets are actually out of that race here, now it's the matter of, okay, what are the Mets going to do? Because a lot of people have come out and stated that if the Mets are not necessarily prioritizing Sugano and that they aren't necessarily the front runner for Jake Odorizzi, because the Red Sox have been pursuing him heavily as well, outside of Trevor Bauer, there isn't a lot there when it comes to top-end pitching talent in free agency. So if you're not necessarily going down that route, are you favoring more so the trade round, the trade options? So that is what we will be breaking down in today's video, pretty much taking a look at the Mets options when it comes to the starting pitching market. Which one do I believe that they are going to be favoring more, either free agency or the trade market, and everything in between? And as always, guys, make sure you stay all the way until the end of the video to find all the details and all my thoughts on the starting pitching options for the Mets heading into the 2021 season. And if you guys end up enjoying this kind of Mets content, want to see more great Mets content like this, please make sure to smash the subscribe and like button, share this video with your friends, put on the notification bell, and all those great things. It really mean a lot. But without further ado, let's get right into this video. Alright guys, when we look at the Mets options in regards to the pitching market, we talked about basically all of them here on the channel, at least what's been reported for the most part that the Mets have actually shown interest in. But now that it looks like Sugano is out of the running for the Mets and Jake Odorizzi isn't necessarily a priority, at least at the time of recording this, things very well may change. The Mets are not out of the running for Odorizzi. I don't believe that they don't look like the front runner. So because of that, there are only a couple names that really stand out outside the ones that we previously touched on just a day or two here on the channel. But the main guy, of course, still in the market is, yes, Trevor Bauer, having a phenomenal short 2020 season, as we know, racking up a 1.73 ERA with the Reds, including a 0.79 whip, and also getting himself a 12.33 K per nine, and also getting himself, yes, a NL Cy Young Award win over guys like Yu Darvish and Jacob deGrom. Yes. So then you look at his numbers previous years in 2019, 4.48 ERA with the Indians, splitting time with the Indians and the Reds at least, and 2018 had another strong year there with the Indians in his final full season there, racking up a 2.21 ERA. So that's a great option for the Mets, as we know. Whether you feel how you feel about him personally, between the controversy or not, Bauer is a top pitching option out there for the Mets by far. But the matter is are they actually going to prioritize an option like that? Are they prioritizing an option like that? Only time will tell. But are the Mets, if say they aren't prioritizing something like that, are they going to prioritize maybe the trade market some more, assuming that they don't do both simultaneously? If that's the case, when you look at the trade market, there's some really strong names out there, but the most notable is the guy that we have touched on here on the channel previously, and Luis Castillo. Because of his amazing contract, Castillo still has around 4 years left, around a $4 million AAV, with I believe a couple arbitration eligibilities in there, but such a great get for a guy who had a 3.21 ERA in 70 innings pitched with the Reds this past year, Bauer's teammate, a 1.23 whip. He was a 2019 NL All-Star, in which in that season as well he racked up a 3.4 ERA, and also take into account in the short 2020 season, going back to that, he had 11.44 K per nine, and in 2018, if you're going back 2 years, he had a 4.3 ERA, but the year before that he had just over a 3 ERA. So throughout his career, he's been awfully consistent and has had a phenomenal job in doing so. And when you look at these two, these guys are both all-stars, as we know, Bauer being a 2018 all-star during his time with the Cleveland Indians, and then Luis Castillo back in 2019, just over this past year with the Reds. So very interesting, two former Reds pitchers now, or at least one is currently a Reds pitcher and one is no longer and is not going to be anymore. We know this by now. But between these two guys, could the Mets land both of them? They very well could. But the fact of the matter is let's weigh the options here if the Mets, say, want to prioritize one route or over another. When you look at the front with a guy like Bauer, for instance, yes, you're getting a lot with him. You're getting a guy that's coming off of a career year with a spin rate through the roof, the best in baseball. Were there maybe some substance things behind that? Probably, but nothing that is really catching the MLB off guard, at least where he's actually getting in trouble for it. So regardless of what he's doing, he's unbelievably smart and sophisticated. He really takes the game seriously. I know he may seem like a joke to a lot of people, but he is a gamer by far. He studies analytics on the back of his hand and uses new technology constantly. So whoever is is going to land Trevor Bauer is definitely going to get a great pitcher, personality aside, however you feel about him, right? But regardless of Trevor Bauer there, he has had some inconsistencies in his career, as we know. He's only had 2 seasons with at least a 2.2 ERA or lower, and the second season was this year. So you don't want to read a guy, and you don't necessarily want to go all in on a guy who, yes, he had a career year, but in a short season, and is reportedly, and who knows exactly what number he'll be looking for, but is reportedly looking for around a possible 5-year deal upwards of $200+ million, which is going to be anywhere around 35+ mil a season, which would be more than what DeGrom is currently making for the most part. So the matter is, do the Mets want to go down that route? I definitely can tell you that they are showing interest. There's no doubt that they have not shown interest here. They have from the beginning. Now it's just a matter, are they prioritizing him enough? Because if the Mets don't want to go down that route, they don't want to give that amount of money to Trevor Bauer, who they haven't seen enough consistency from per se, could they very well favor a guy like Luis Castillo, as we know, who Castillo on that phenomenal contract, but the however, is that you have to give up, the catch I should say, is that you have to give up some significant assets. A guy like Luis Castillo is not going to be cheap. You're going to have to give up some on-field talent as it is. Guys like Brandon Nimmo comes to mind right away. One of JD Davis, Ahmad Rosario would make a lot of sense for them. One of him or Jimenez at least. You're going to give up some really good, solid, at least on-field talent currently that is expendable if the Mets do other options in free agency or trade market that we have already touched on here on the channel, and will definitely going forward. But because you have all these options for the Mets, it seems to me that they very well are truly weighing their options here. They have plans A through F figured out, as we have touched on here on the channel already. So if I had to pick from a personal standpoint, I think the Mets do in fact still have a very strong chance of getting Trevor Bauer. But if they do not land him, it'll probably be mainly because of how steep of a price he's costing. And you might be wondering, Tyler, why aren't the Mets going after Bauer? Why can't they land him even if he's seeking upwards of 200 mil? They can afford that. Essentially, they can, yes, but maybe it's not the route they want to go down, and that might be more telling as to why the Mets are looking at some other options out there. The Mets have shown interest in basically all the starting pitching options out there in regards to free agency that we talked about already. But then you have other guys in the trade market outside of guys like Luis Castillo. You have their other Reds teammate and Sonny Gray, who had a strong season with the Reds once again, but who knows if the Mets really want to go down that route. We know how he did in the Bronx. I don't think it would be the same in Queens, but there's a slight risk factor there. I don't think it's too significant, however. But as we know, the Mets, they need to address this rotation going into the 2021 season, and I fully believe that they're going to be landing 2 starters in doing so, and assumably that second starter, probably a 4th or 5th starter, will be in place kind of temporarily until Thor comes back in the reins, probably around at latest June, I would imagine, coming back from Tommy John. So if that very well is the case, the Mets are going to be looking for a big name starter more than likely. You're looking at either one of Trevor Bauer or Jake Odorizzi. Trevor Bauer is obviously on another level than Odorizzi. Odorizzi is a very solid pitcher. He's not a bad option, but when it comes to actual pure talent, if you're looking for a top guy in your top 3, it doesn't get any better than Bauer between the two, in my personal opinion at least. But I understand the pros and cons to both players here, the inconsistencies, the worries, especially for the dollar. You can get Odorizzi for far cheaper than what you would be landing a guy like Bauer more than likely. So I understand everyone's outlook on this, that maybe you're favoring Odorizzi over Bauer from a fan perspective, but I'm just saying, in my personal opinion, you want Bauer more than anything else. But it's a matter of, can they actually afford him, and will they actually afford him? Only time will tell. But I'm really curious to know your thoughts in the comments below, guys. What direction do you think the Mets are going in this offseason? We should find out hopefully sooner than later if they are going to continue to prioritize free agency, because all these pitching options out there. But I personally would love a guy like Luis Castillo in this rotation. I'm sure you would too. Even if you have to give up some significant assets, hopefully you don't have to give up a top 10 prospect in doing so, even though I'm sure that's what the Reds would try to covet going back into this rebuild, as has been the case with basically that entire NL Central outside of the St. Louis Cardinals. Every other team has basically been downgrading this offseason, not adding any great young talent into the roster that's actually going to make an impact. So I want to know your thoughts again, and thank you all so much for checking out this video. If you ended up enjoying it, please make sure to smash that like button, share this video with your friends, put on that subscribe and notification bell. It would really mean a lot. Thank you all so much for the continued support here on the channel. It's been so much fun, and I cannot wait to see what the Mets are going to do this offseason. And stay tuned, guys. We're gonna have some more great hockey, not hockey, because I have a hockey channel as well. We're gonna have a lot of great Mets content here on the channel as always. And this Saturday, I'm going to have a video like no other for all you lovely people, breaking down the Mets offseason again, but with a very special guest. And you guys might have a clue as to who that is, but if you want to guess, put it in the comments down below. I'm unbelievably excited. I think this is going to help take the channel that much farther and really bring some more traction with all you lovely Mets fans. So look forward to it, guys. Stay tuned. So let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you all so much again, guys, and I'll talk to you all again in probably a day or two.